In the headlines, Senate passes Electoral Act Amendments Bill. Kebbi boat mishap. Governor Idris consoles Yauri over death of 14 persons. Abuja traders, buyers differ over food prices as Ramadan Lent begin. Away from Nigeria, Kenya airport workers call off strike after 2 days of disruption. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. The Senate has passed the Electoral Act 2022, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026, following a tense and rowdy session over Clause 60 of the proposed legislation. Proceedings were disrupted after Senator Naya Abaribe demanded a division on Clause 60, subsection 3, which addresses the electronic transmission of election results. Abaribe called for the removal of the proviso allowing manual transmission of results where electronic transmission fails. Senate President Godswill Akpabio initially ruled on the matter, but opposition lawmakers objected, triggering heated exchanges on the floor. Deputy Senate President Barrow Jibrin cited Order 52 subsection 6, arguing it would be out of order to revisit a matter already decided. The Senate leader Okpeyemi Bamidele clarified that he had earlier sponsored a motion for rescission, meaning previous decisions on the bill were no longer binding and could be reconsidered. During the division ordered by Akpabio, 15 opposition senators voted against retaining the proviso, while 55 senators voted in support, allowing the clause to stand. Earlier, the chamber had dissolved into the Committee of the Whole after adopting a motion to rescind the earlier passage of the bill. Following clause-by-clause consideration and resolution of contentious provisions, the Senate passed the bill. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives on Tuesday rescinded its earlier decision on Clause 60, subsection 3, adopting the version passed by the Senate, which allowed both electronic and manual transmission of results. The approval came amidst protests from opposition lawmakers who staged a walk from the chambers. The House had earlier approved Clause 60, subsection 3, which stipulates that the presiding officers shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to IREF portal, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed Form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling unit. However, during the emergency sitting, the House approved the version passed by the Senate, which gave a caveat on transmission of election results. The approved version stipulates that the presiding officers shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to IREF portal, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed Form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling unit. Now, former ministers Obi Ezekwesili and Solomon Dalung, as well as activist Omoyele Sowore on Tuesday, joined protesters at the National Assembly demanding passage of mandatory real-time electronic transmission of election results from polling units to IREF portal. Addressing journalists and demonstrators at the gate of the National Assembly, Ezekwesili accused lawmakers, particularly the Senate, of attempting to dilute provisions on electronic transmission of results. She recalled that during deliberations on the Electoral Act amendment, the House of Representatives had earlier supported reforms on electronic transmission, but alleged that the Senate introduced ambiguity by leaving the matter to the discretion of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Ezekwesili argued that making electronic transmission optional opens the door to manipulation and undermines public trust in the electoral process. Dalung and Sowore also expressed support for the demand, insisting that only a compulsory electronic transmission system would restore confidence in Nigeria's elections ahead of 2027. Now, Kebbi State Governor Nasser Idris has condoled with the people of Yauri over a boat mishap that claimed 14 lives. The governor's condolence message was delivered by the chairman of Yauri local government area, Abubakar Shuaibu, who represented him at the funeral prayers of the deceased. Governor Idris urged the bereaved families to accept the will of Almighty God in good faith and prayed for the forgiveness of the victims' shortcomings. A local government chairman said the accident occurred at Gumbi village in Yauri, while the victims accompanied a bride to Gwarzo village in Ngaski local government area. He explained that the boat capsized while conveying over 100 passengers back home, resulting in the death of 14 persons, including 13 women and a child. All the victims have since been buried according to Islamic rites. A journalist working with Prestige FM, Amina-based radio station, Ahmed Isa Sakpe, aka Ahmed Lee, has been detained at the State Criminal Investigation Department of the Niger State Police Command for alleged cyberbullying and defamation. A journalist was said to have published a press statement issued by a youth group on an alleged political crisis in the Niger South Senatorial District on the Crusader Radio Facebook platform, which he runs. The reporter was detained after he was invited on Monday by the police following a complaint by an aide to the Niger State Governor, Muhammad Umaru Bagu. A spokesperson for the Niger State Police Command, SP Wasiu Abiodun, told Trust TV that the arrest followed a petition by one Dubban alleging falsehood, defamation, and cyberbullying. Abiodun said the matter was under investigation and will be charged to court. Now, fresh fear has gripped residents of Kadisau village in Faskari local government area of Katsina State following the killing of a local farmer by suspected bandits. The victim, Suraju Zayan Kuruma, was shot dead on Monday night while returning home from Diskuru village in Endume local government area. According to local sources, Suraju was ambushed along the lonely stretch of road connecting the two communities and killed on the spot. Family members say Surajo had only gone out for routine engagements and was on his way back home when tragedy struck. His death has left his household devastated and the entire community in mourning. Kadisau village, like many rural communities in Katsina, has endured repeated attacks by armed bandits over the years. The State Police Command was yet to issue a statement on the incident at the time of filing this report. Now, as Muslims across Nigeria prepare for the holy month of Ramadan and Christians begin the 40-day Lenten fasting period, concerns are mounting over a possible rise in food prices in markets nationwide. With fasting expected to commence in a day, many households are rushing to stock up on essential commodities amid fears of further price increases. Our correspondent who visited the popular Utako market in Abuja gathered reactions from traders and buyers on cost of foodstuffs. Take a look.
Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, is a holy period during which Muslims fast from dawn to sunset. It is expected to begin around February 18th, 2026 and end in late March. Similarly, Lent begins with Ash Wednesday on February 18th, 2026, marking a 40-day Christian season of fasting, praying, repentance, and charity, leading to Easter on April 5th, 2026. As both fasting periods approach, market surveys indicate growing pressure on food prices, with traders anticipating increases in staples such as rice, beans, cooking oil, fruits, and vegetables, due to heightened demand. To assess the situation, Trust TV visited the popular Utako market ahead of the fasting season to obtain first-hand information from traders on current commodity prices.
God's will, if the goods are plenty, prices will be cheaper. If the supply is small, the prices will increase. And that is how it works. Not only during Ramadan, we do mainly in carrots and vegetables. And this is the usual trend. For example, this one container is 500 naira. Before, when goods are scarce, we sold it for 1,000 naira. Now that the goods are more available, we sell it for 500 naira. If there is plenty in the market, sellers reduce the price, but if supply is low, they add money. It is not only during Ramadan, even before Ramadan, prices sometimes go high. This is just how the market operates. As you can see, every item has its own price. Tomatoes are sold at 3,000 naira, pepper at 3,000 naira, and onions at 5,000 naira. Before now, tomatoes were sold for 7,000 naira and 5,000 naira, but the prices has reduced. So compared to previous weeks, prices have come down.
To gaskiya farashin dabino da aya karuwa.
The price of dates and tiger nut have increased. Before Ramadan, we bought a kilo of dates for 1,500 naira, but now it has increased between 1,600 naira and 1,650. So there's a slight increase. Tiger nuts used to cost 5,000 naira for 100 kg sack before Ramadan, but now it is 90,000 naira. As you can see, the prices has increased.
Wasu sun sauka wasu sun karu. Ba kowane ya karo ba kowane ya sauka ba.
Some prices have increased while some have reduced. Not everything has gone up. Not everything has come down. For eggs, the price has increased. Tomatoes have also increased. A basket of tomatoes that we sold for 2,500 naira before now is 3,500 or even 4,000 naira. Onions we sold for 3,000 before, but now they are for 4,000 naira or 4,500. Irish potatoes has also increased. We used to sell them for 5,000 naira, but now they are sold for 8,000 and 9,000 naira. However, the price of sweet potatoes has remained the same. It has not increased. As for whether prices will change when Ramadan begins, it is difficult to say for now. There is a possibility that prices may increase further. For eggs, we used to sell a crate for 5,200, but now it is 5,500 or 5,600.
This price now, the watermelon I get now, it cannot be the same at the second mock where you finish, not be the same size. So if the watermelon is big and the mock where you enter, the price is big because of not be the same size. Yeah. The problem sometimes person you bring it for inside the car, you go add money.
Popular foods consumed during Ramadan and Lent include poultry products, fruits, grains, dates, cooking oils, as well as tubers such as yam and sweet potatoes. Customers share the views on the current prices of these commodities.
The price is a bit fair compared to last year. At least it's a bit fair. At least we can buy things and use, and we see what we are buying. Unlike last year, where the price is high and the things we are buying is small.
The price is very good. The price is very, very, very good. You can see tomato, you can see onions, you can see Irish potatoes. Tomato before it was 4,000, but today you can buy tomato 2,000 naira. It's a bit friendly. And Irish potato too. Before it was 12,000 naira, but today you can buy Irish potato 4,035. So the prices is very, very okay.
With just a day to the commencement of Ramadan and Lent, attention now turns to whether food prices will stabilize or continue to rise, and how prepared Muslim and Christian families are for the spiritual season. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A trial of Ali Bello, the Chief of Staff to Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo, resumed before Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Maitama, Abuja, with the 17th prosecution witness linking the defendant to alleged Kogi State government funds. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is prosecuting Bello alongside Dauda Suleiman on a 16-count amended charge bordering on alleged misappropriation and money laundering amounting to over 10.2 billion naira. Bello is a nephew of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Adoza Bello. Testifying, EFCC investigator Ahmed Audu Abubakar identified financial records marked Exhibit F detailing inflows and outflows. During proceedings, defense counsel objected to the admissibility of the defendant's extrajudicial statements, citing provisions of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act on voluntariness. Justice Omotosho ordered a trial within trial to determine the issue. After hearing testimony, the court admitted the statements in evidence. This is News Update on Trust TV coming up after the break. Low-income earners lament as accommodation costs surge in Agege communities in Lagos. These and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that Senate passes Electoral Act Amendment Bill. And Kebbi boat mishap, Governor Idris consoles Yauri over death of 14 persons. Moving on to more stories, the Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Health, has directed the immediate disengagement of directors who have spent 8 years or more in the directorate cadre. Those affected include directors in the ministry, federal hospitals, and affiliated agencies, according to a memo obtained in Abuja on Tuesday. A development follows an earlier directive mandating all ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAS, to implement the 8-year tenure policy for directors and permanent secretaries in line with a fresh deadline issued by the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation. In the memo signed by Tet Shoma Dafeta, who oversees the Office of the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, the enforcement of the policy was reiterated. The circular further instructed all heads of agencies and parastatals to ensure that affected officers hand over official documents and government property without delay. It also directed that their salaries be stopped by the IPPIS unit and that any emoluments paid beyond their effective date of disengagement be refunded to the Treasury. Residents in some rural areas of Lagos State are struggling to keep a roof over their heads as house rents continue to soar on a yearly basis. Residents, particularly in the Agege area, have decried the steady increase in rental costs. Many houses in their rural communities, with some lacking modern features, now go for 400,000 naira and above per annum, placing significant financial pressure on low-income earners. Victoria Tokolo sent in this report as presented from our studio.
Nigerians are facing a harsh reality as house rents in major cities like Lagos continue to rise beyond the reach of the average worker. While the national minimum wage stands at 70,000 naira per month, some tenants pay as much as 1.5 million naira annually for standard apartments. In Agege, particularly around the Palace area, the widening gap between wages and rental costs has made living conditions increasingly unaffordable for many residents. A house agent in one of the rural communities in Agege, Johnson Oloide, explained that rental prices vary depending on the category of the building and its location. He noted that modern structures with features such as POP ceilings are currently driving up rental costs as they attract higher demand from prospective tenants.
Presently now, for property now depend on three categories. Property depend on location for money of every building, every houses, every whatsoever the building you wanted to rent. Number one, the location of where you wanted to rent that house, the type of the house you want to rent, and the type of the structure. Now, presently now, let me start it from up, not down. If your building is now constructed by POP, that is what is raining. A room self-contained, they can give you 1 million.
Some tenants living within the Ogba Agege Palace area expressed concern over the soaring cost of renting even a single room, which now ranges between 400,000 naira and 500,000 naira per year.
It's always costly day by day, hour to hour. It's only God can help us. Like me now, I'm looking for the house. I just go there, they pay 500K for every year. self-con. Okay, how person can cope it. And the one that are looking for the house is only 300 and they are paying her for where he's working. The woman say he can't afford it. The only thing that they're planning now to pack either to go village or to go those down Oniwaya and that place too is always costing. Only God can help us for this Lagos.
The house rent is too expensive. One person wants to collect a room, they're saying 400,000 for a room but with commission agreement. So the house rent is too expensive. That is what I can say.
It's very, very expensive for paying house rent. It's 1 room for our place now, 500,000 we are paying. I'm not collecting 500,000 from salary. It's too cost.
Yes,
help us to reduce it. Yes, 1 room for our place we are staying now. For agreement commission, everything is too cost. Total everything is 500,000.
Government knows what to do. I'm not a government. God, they know what to do. They are witnessing what is happening. Yes, they are seeing it, so they know. Every month, house increase, 1 room you see 15,000 naira. Agent and agreement, you are talking about 600 for 1 room, for 2 room and they beg. They know what to do. They know what to do. They are just whining us.
As Lagos remains one of the most expensive cities in the country for housing, the challenge of balancing profitability for landlords with affordability for tenants continues to intensify, making housing one of the country's most pressing social and economic issues.
And now in business, international oil companies bidding in Nigeria's 2025 licensing round would not be required to set up local subsidiaries before submitting bids, but successful foreign bidders must incorporate Nigerian entities within 90 days of receiving their offer letters. The clarification by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission comes as Nigeria moves to attract fresh foreign investment into its upstream sector. Africa's largest oil producer is offering 50 exploration blocks across mature and frontier basins in a bid to boost reserves and production while maintaining local participation requirements. The tender includes 35 assets in the prolific Niger Delta Basin, 16 onshore blocks, 18 shallow water blocks, and 1 deep water prospect. An additional 15 blocks are located in frontier basins, including Benin, Anambra, Benue, and Chad, representing higher risk opportunities with limited geological data. Analysts say the framework strikes a balance between easing entry barriers for international investors and ensuring eventual Nigerian corporate presence. Away from Nigeria, Kenyan airport workers on Tuesday called off their strike after 2 days of disruption that had caused flight delays and cancellations at one of Africa's busiest air transport hubs. Earlier in the day, passengers stranded at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport had been waiting for hours, unsure whether their flights would take off. Some slept on the airport floor overnight. A transport ministry brokered the agreement for the Kenya Aviation Workers Union to end its industrial action, saying operations at the main Nairobi airport and other facilities would now return to normal. It was unclear how long it would take for normal operations to resume. The union launched the strike despite a court order saying it should not go ahead, citing grievances including its failure to conclude a collective bargaining agreement with the aviation authority. Now in sports, Nigeria's para-badminton star Eniola Bolaji has climbed to world #1 in the women's SL3 category in the latest rankings released by the Badminton World Federation on Tuesday, February 17th. Bolaji ascended to the top of the world rankings following her impressive silver medal finish at the 2026 World Para-Badminton Championship. She lost 2-0 in the final to Japan's world #1 Shino Kawai at the new Capitol Hall on February 14th. The multiple national and African champion dethroned Indonesia's Juanita Ikhtiar from the summit of the rankings. Her rise was further boosted by her triumph at the Egypt International in January, where she successfully defended her title for the second consecutive year. President of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Orbi, described Bolaji's latest achievement as a landmark moment for Nigeria in Africa, noting that her success reflects deliberate investment and structured support for para badminton in the country. And that's a wrap on news updates. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Bye for now.